So I'm going to be responding to a series of tweets that a woman posted. The first one reads, if you grew up in America, you probably believe that the whole world is obsessed with you, but it's really the side effects of American imperialism and the culture forced to be present in all of our respective countries. She then goes on to say, we can argue today that American culture is the most influential on earth, but why do you think it's that? A coincidence? I tweeted this a few years ago and got dragged because people didn't understand what I meant, but I hope one day we can have an honest conversation about this. If you guys understood how exposed we are to American culture and not how obsessed we are with you guys, it would avoid a lot of stupid arguments on here. You guys care about us while we don't know you guys exist. Well, it was kind of the point of the American imperialism, and they did a fantastic job. And this is why you believe that there's no way Tyler could have simply seen an outfit and liked it. Somehow it has to have been influenced by Britney. Okay, so I'm going to respond to this as someone who is American, Black American specifically, if you could not tell. So first of all, in the end of her tweet, she mentioned a situation with Tyler. And let me tell you all what happened, right? So Tyler wore like an exact copy of a Britney Spears outfit. And when somebody asked her like, oh, like, did you take inspiration from Britney Spears? She said, oh no, I just saw the outfit and I liked it. Okay, maybe that's true, right? But somebody took inspiration from Britney Spears, okay? So maybe she has a stylist who took inspiration and then didn't tell Tyler, oh yeah, like, we're basing this outfit off of whatever, right? But somebody definitely took inspiration from Britney Spears because that's not really a coincidence, And you know what? Maybe it is. I'll give everybody involved the benefit of the doubt. Maybe nobody took inspiration from Britney Spears, whatever, right? But Tyler already has a little bit of a background of imitating American artists. She's on multiple occasions imitated Aaliyah, and some other stuff, right? So, I mean, it kind of doesn't really look like it's going in her favor much, but whatever, right? So, this woman said all of this, and again, she was kind of responding to the situation with Tyler and Britney Spears, but clearly, this transcends that. So, I'm going to respond to this as a whole. So, I'm going to kind of respond to the tweets as she presented them so that I don't forget to respond to anything, right? So her first one read, if you guys grew up in America, you probably believe that the whole world is obsessed with you, but it's really the side effects of American imperialism and the culture forced to be present in all of our respective countries, okay? Now, this is what I will say to that. First of all, I'm sure there is a lot of truth to this. Of course, if a country colonizes you and forces their culture on you, then absolutely you're going to be exposed to their culture in a way that they are not exposed to yours. Absolutely, right? But, what has me kind of side-eyeing, right, is the fact that there's a saying, an old saying, right? It says, the sun never sets on the British Empire, right? And that's about how Britain colonized so many places that the sun was always shining somewhere that was, a colony of Britain, right? Now, despite the fact that Britain was more of an imperial power than America, by far, right? Nobody is really pressed to, be involved in British culture. Let's compare the relevancy of American culture versus British culture, right? Nobody's jocking their musical genres, right? Like K-pop and UK drill, all of that came from Black Americans, but we'll get to the Black part later, right? Nobody's swagger jacking the UK, even though, again, they're more of an imperialistic power than America, right? And I mean, that extends to these other imperialistic countries as well, right? China colonized half of Africa at this point, right? Different places in Asia were colonial powers and stuff, right? But again, nobody's swagger jacking these other imperialistic powers the way that people are swagger jacking Black Americans, right? So something's not adding up here, right? Now, somebody is going to be like, Flower Tower, did you just call the UK a country? Because I said, oh, look at these other countries that were imperialistic powers. I don't think the UK is a country, okay? Because it's called the United Kingdom. So I believe it's a collection of countries like Ireland, Scotland, I don't know, something like that, right? Honestly, y'all, to this day, I can't tell you the difference between Great Britain, England, and the UK. Like, I cannot tell you, and y'all gonna sit there and explain it, and I'm still not gonna be able to tell you because, quite frankly, I just don't care, okay? So y'all about to come in the comments and be like, hey, American, so and so and so. And you know what? I'll take that because I don't give a fuck to learn about y'all, okay? So let's move along to the next tweets. So this woman goes on to say, we can argue today that American culture is the most influential on earth, but why do you think it's that? A coincidence? First of all, I don't like the way she worded this. It should have said, why do you think that is? But whatever, let's not nitpick at the little stuff, right? So she then says, if you guys understood how exposed we are to American culture and not how obsessed we are with you guys, it would avoid a lot of stupid arguments on here, okay? Now, this is the next thing that I want to address because, hey, like I said, I'm Black American. I'm not just American, right? And something that I've noticed is that 99.9% of the American culture that you all participate in is Black American culture. It's really never white American culture. So something's not lining up here because we know that Black Americans are not the imperial powers in your countries, right? We know that for a fact, right? So my thing is this, right? Logically, right? Let's look at America. White Americans are oppressing Black Americans here, right? They hate us. Come on now, right? That's not news to anybody, right? So you telling me that white Americans are colonizing your country and they're choosing to expose you all to Black American culture? That's what you're telling me? Like the people that they hate, right? That's what you're telling me? That doesn't make any sense. In fact, don't white Americans go out of their way to show Black Americans in a negative light in you guys' countries? Like whenever there's a movie made by white people, you know, they try to not make it so obvious now in recent days, but for a long time, up until like 2015, right? Whenever a movie was made by white people and there was a Black character in it, the Black character was always a crackhead or a baby mama on welfare or something. Never anything positive, right? We were displayed very negatively in all of the media that white Americans showed to you all in your countries as they were colonizing you, right? Yet, despite that, by and large, the American culture that you all are participating in is not white American culture. It's Black American culture. So again, the math is not quite mathing. You telling me white Americans colonize you, right? But you're not eating string bean casserole. You not singing, what is white American music? Because literally all of their musical genres are literally ours that they hijack. Rock and roll, all of that stuff, house music, dooch, all of that came from Black Americans. So I don't even know what white American music is, right? Y'all are not participating in white American culture by and large in your countries, even though those are the people who are colonizing you all, right? For the most part, you all are participating in Black American culture. Like I said, look around. You see K-pop is literally just Black American music made in Korean. You see UK drill. They literally just stole Chicago drill and started making it in the UK, right? You see different Black groups all over the world starting to call their food soul food. That is not what y'all food is called, right? But you see that despite the fact that Black Americans are not the ones colonizing you all or forcing our culture onto you all or anything like that, right? You all by and large are still heavily participating in it, right? Now, again, she ended her rant off with, yeah, Tyler and the Britney Spears situation, so and so and so, right? But realistically, as a Black American, I can read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can pick up what you're putting down, right? And I know who this is about. Now, you tried to pretend that it wasn't aimed at Black Americans, but we know good and well that it was. Because realistically, who is telling y'all, oh, y'all are obsessed with us and we don't think about y'all? I don't think white Americans are saying that to y'all. I really don't, right? Because that's something that Black Americans say in diaspora discussions. And, I mean, by and large, it is true, right? Now, all of that being said, let's call out some actual things here, right? Because I think that multiple things can be true at one time. Is it true that the U.S. had a hand in colonizing plenty of folks? Yes, absolutely, right? But it doesn't make sense that you're claiming that is the reason that you balls deep in Black American culture. Because again, you tried to make it about Tyler and the Britney Spears situation. We know that's not what this shit is about, right? Why would white Americans go to your countries, right, and present Black Americans in a favorable light? They literally hate us. That's not a thing. That's not happening, right? Yet you are still involved in Black American culture. Funnily enough, right? My brother said something that stuck with me. It was so profound, right? He said, Black Americans are the only people, we didn't go around forcing anybody to participate in our culture at all, right? Yet everybody chooses to participate in it. Isn't that true? Because you notice that aside from us, the only time that people participate in other people's cultures is if they've been forced to. Come on, look at me. I speak English, right? Why do you think I speak English? Because my ancestors were forced to. White people literally would beat them and kill them if they spoke their native languages and, forced them to speak English, right? Look all around, right? The only reason people are Christian or Muslim or speaking this language or participating in that is because of colonialism. People came to their countries and forced them to do those things, right? But Black Americans are the exception. We never went nowhere and made nobody do nothing. Yet y'all all over the world hip hop dancing, Michael Jackson impersonating, making soul food, so and so and so, right? Isn't that kind of peculiar? I think it's a little bit strange. Now, I don't know if it's just me, right? Black Americans, y'all weigh in. This is about to be a matter of opinions right here. Now, that stuff I was speaking before, that was facts because Black Americans ain't never colonized y'all, yet y'all balls deep in our culture anyway. So all of this jive talk you was talking can't be rooted in reality, right? But this right here, like I said, is going to be an opinion, right? I always thought that I felt this special connection with my culture simply because it was my culture, right? So, for example, I'm going to use the example of music, right? Me personally and every other Black American, we don't listen to white people Christmas carols, right? We listen to all the Black American recordings of the Christmas carols, literally, right? And again, I always thought that was just because, everybody feels that connection with their culture. I assume that Chinese people will listen to Chinese Christmas carols. I assume that African people will listen to African Christmas carols, right? But as I got older, I see, no, everybody is listening to the Black American Christmas carols, right? And that always kind of struck me. Now, of course, this is just one example. Of course, I'm talking about music and, within music, specifically Christmas carols, right? But that struck me, another example within music is gospel music, right? Something I've always said, I'm not even a Christian anymore. I was born and raised a Christian. I have not been a Christian for years, right? But something I've always said is that I still listen to our gospel music because it's just beautiful. It literally is beautiful, right? And again, I thought that was just a cultural connection I felt with my, my culture, right? But then, I saw Middle Eastern Muslims and stuff oh yeah, I listen to Black American gospel music. I know it's about the Christian guy, but I just, I pretend it's about Allah, it's one guy, so and so and so, right? And I was like, wow, because I would never be listening to no Muslim worship music or nothing, Middle Eastern worship music or well, I listen to some Muslim worship music if it was Black American Muslim worship music, okay? But I wouldn't listen to a different culture's worship music because again, y'all cultures never give me that spark that my culture gives me. And for a long time, I thought that everybody felt this spark with their culture, right? And I just felt it with mine because it's my culture. But I don't think that's the case. I think y'all don't feel that spark with y'all cultures and y'all feel it with mine too. Because there is something so beautiful about Black Americans' cultures. I can't even put it into words. Example, when Burna Boy was talking about he never liked traditional African music growing up, I could not relate to that shit. I've always liked Black American music growing up. Everything, baby, the gospel, the blues, the Negro spirituals, everything, all of it hits, right? So seeing him say that he didn't like his cultural music, it's how? You don't feel that connection with your culture? What kind of crap is that, right? But again, I really do think that you all feel that same spark with Black American music and culture, period, that I do. I really do think that. I think that Black American culture and creativity and whatever is just the most beautiful thing in the world. And I think you all know that too, which is why you all, again, are hip hop dancing, rapping, soul food cooking, this, that, and all over the world, despite the fact that Black Americans never asked you to or forced you to or anything like that, because you see the beauty in our culture the same way we do. Honestly, y'all be coming off as haters sometimes. Seriously, the fact that you all engage in Black American culture so deeply, willingly at that, willingly, because like I said, Didn't know black Americans colonized you and forced you to participate in our culture, right? You engaged so willingly, right? But you can't never say nothing positive about it. The only thing y'all ever got to say about black Americans, oh, y'all think y'all the center of the world. Oh, y'all ain't got no culture, so and so and so. Is giving hateration. It really is, right? And y'all need to figure out a better way to deal with the inferiority complex that you're feeling, because clearly being a hating ass bitch is not helping, because you bitches still don't like yourselves despite all of the hating that you do, right? So find another way to go about it, because I know and you know that black American culture is the bomb diggity bitch.